Cultural changes as a result of the American Civil War. The American Civil War was one of the largest upsets in society the nation had ever seen. During and following the Civil War, massive changes took place in the lives and culture of all Americans, and there was no place more affected than the South. Before the war, the South had been a land dominated by the white man. Slavery and oppression were staples of life for the Southerners, and they fought tooth and nail to keep their status quo. Following the war, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were passed, outlawing slavery and giving rights, citizenship, and representation to the African American people. The result was a forced adaptation to the new system and a great change in culture. The newly freed African American population quickly began to take advantage of their rights and protections. As the South was occupied by the Union Army and anyone who participated in the rebellion unable to vote, multiple African Americans were elected to office, including Huron Revels of Mississippi, the first black senator. Most of the South was now represented by Republicans in office who tended to favor African American rights. During the era of Reconstruction, things did in fact get better for African Americans, and they were slowly able to make lives for themselves. In the article Call Me Mister, which we read in AP US History, an African American man stands up to an older white man, calling him boy. He tells the man to address him as Mr., a more respectable term. In previous years, this would have resulted in a violent confrontation, but now the white man was forced to accept it. This entire article embodies qualities of realism, as it includes excerpts written in vernacular, and it gives accurate portrayals of life for the black community during the time period. Further examples of cultural change during and following the Civil War are the growing progressive and abolitionist movements in the North. Before the war, many Northerners had no issue with the situation that African Americans faced in the South, and simply did not want slavery to spread to the new states. But following the war, civil rights, women's rights, and workers' rights became a hot issue among Americans. A primary activist for civil rights and women's rights was Ida B. Wells. She gained notoriety after bringing the case Plessy versus Ferguson to the Supreme Court. After being thrown off a first-class train car in Tennessee, she filed a lawsuit, which was eventually taken to the Supreme Court. Although the Supreme Court ruled against her and decided that segregation was allowed as long as there were equal but separate accommodations for the white and colored races, she continued to fight against oppression and lynching for years. She eventually went on a speaking tour in England to denounce lynching with great result. Ida B. Wells exemplified naturalism by fighting against the society and the challenges she faced. Many voices heard her, and she was one of the most recognized founders of the civil rights movement. Following the Civil War, many positive changes took place in the culture of the war-torn nation. People began to slowly move forward from their previous ways, and the beginnings of a new America were at hand. It would take another 100 years after the Civil War for African Americans and women to have full equality in law, but the fires of war ignited the movements that brought change. Finally, the Founding Fathers' constitutional dream that all men are created equal was starting to be realized. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this short video and that you learned something today. Have a great day.